Let's do this. Welcome to the Buck and Mike Experience.
Experience sports like you never had before.
Where the buck stops.
And the mic drops.
Bam. All right. So, hey, look, it's working. Viewers are on. All right. So, we're trying something fun and different here. As some of you saw, we posted on Facebook.
Preston, let's go.
Yeah, there's my dude.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So, we are going to try to function using the live feed, recording it to post it up on YouTube. See if we can get a little engagement while we just kind of mumble on carrying our conversation the way we normally would. That's kind of how we're doing it. I think you're able to see the questions.
Yeah.
All right, good, because I'm not able to see them just yet on mine.
Oh, well, there's only one.
There's only the one. Yeah. So cool. Oh, there it goes. It came in late. All right. So, well, I guess we'll do our normal shindig here. I love Stephen Buckner. I love you too, Bubba. So, how's your week?
Great.
Good week. Good. That's good. I have no complaints of a week that's coming to a close end for a vacation coming up next week. Not upset at all at the pace of the week.
It's going pretty good.
So now we get to the. I'll ask you this because we'll start with a little TV question for you here. Have you seen the Avatar yet?
Oh, I watched it all.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
So good. If you haven't seen it yet, fantastic.
How about Shogun? You watched it yet?
I have not watched that. I don't know what that one is.
All right, it's based off a book by James Clavell.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Is it?
2 episodes already out. It's on Hulu and Disney Plus. Either one, if you want to watch it on there.
Okay.
It's amazing.
I'll have to look into that one.
It's very amazing.
We just finished the Avatar. I think we did in like 3 days. My daughter watched it with us. That one was fantastic. So I'll have to check in the Shogun, and then I'm still running through the X-Men cartoon.
I tried it. I got
through
like 2 episodes. I was like, I just can't do this.
There's some weird things going on there. Like the way Rogue gets super strong in the cartoon is because she takes Carol Danvers' powers away. And I'm like, what are we going to do to Carol Danvers if Rogue becomes a real X-Man? Like, what are we doing now? But all that fun aside, so now we'll rock and roll. Where do you want to start? What ball?
So we'll start with football and basically a question that was asked in the group. I forgot the name already. I'm sorry.
While you look that up, I'll remind. We do have a bet payoff supposed to be joining us.
Yeah, it's
We are waiting for him to join us. He says he's online. I don't know if he's watching or not, but he is online. He got last place in our fantasy football league that we are in together, and so he's supposed to come on in a dress. My understanding is he's telling me that he doesn't own a dress, and he's got something to make himself look nice and sexy. We're going to pretty much leave it up to the other members of our fantasy league to consider if that's a fair enough punishment after he gets on. We're just not going to tell him that until he gets on and we see what he looks like. If he just looks like a fool twice, that's on him for getting last.
Yep. I agree with that part. All right, so the question was posed by Tyler Lambright. And part of the question I had actually brought up.
I found out what I did wrong there.
I had actually brought up in our video last week, and it's about Tony Pollard.
That's right.
And the fact that he's a free agent. He said Pollard is not an every down back, and getting rid of your power back forced him out of his comfort zone. If we could somehow sign a power back, does Pollard go back to numbers like he had when Zeke was there? He could, because he's like you said, and I said last week. He's not a bell cow, and at this point with his injury, he's not really even that good of your change of pace back anymore, really. And if you bring Zeke back, he's not really that great either. So I don't know. Those aren't the guys that I would look at. If I'm being honest, I would bring Pollard back if he wanted something really cheap. But I would probably move on from him and look in the draft to get someone that's similar to him, because you're going to want someone that's not an injury prone. Well, not injury prone. He's not really injury prone, but someone who's had a pretty bad injury. So, and then a power back. There are several power backs that you can get really cheap in free agency, like Deonta Foreman. He's a really good one that I feel like would be a lot better of an option than Zeke would at this point, because Zeke has kind of shown that his wheels have kind of fallen off.
I think he would even be a better option than, as we talked about last week with Derrick Henry. If you want to know more on the Derrick Henry talk, we talked it last week. It's on our video from last week. But I think Foreman and Henry, we've seen, are basically a cheap man carbon copy. So in a spot where Dallas is about to have to play CD, they're probably going to pay Dak whether you want him to or not. They're probably going to. You're gonna have to pay Parsons.
You're gonna pay
There's
Parsons.
contracts coming.
There's big contracts.
There's big contracts coming. Yes, the salary cap went up an insane amount, but it's only to make up for a year where it went down during COVID. It's not like they're not really any different than what it probably should have already been.
It would have been this exact number if they never went down during that COVID year.
Exactly.
Like if this is exactly where they would be, and that's what happened was that they did something where they
Who dat?
they did something where they all agreed to it going down during that year for it to go back up. So we're just in an area where all of a sudden it boomed, but to be honest, it's where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So and also like he said, Derrick Henry is someone that honestly I wouldn't even get either because of these contracts that you're about to be paying.
Yeah. Even if it is going to be a
even
1-year deal.
Saquon, like it's not worth it because there are other guys that can fill in, and teams like Kansas City has shown you don't need a high paid great running back to win the Super Bowl. You just need a good quarterback and a good defense. You don't even need good receivers. Now Patrick Mahomes is a little different story. So
Rice is a good receiver. He's not a great receiver, but he's good.
Do you think he would have put those numbers up with any other quarterback that's not Patrick Mahomes?
Hey, that's quarterback's job to make receivers.
There was no one else to throw to, and he was just good enough, and he had Patrick Mahomes.
Well, Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, there's plenty of guys that can bank on a great quarterback that are the reason they're great football
Are we
players.
really going to sit here and say that?
No, I'm not. I can't even joke it.
So the second part of his question, or the actual first part, was about the Rangers and the outfield of Carter and
I've
Langford.
got that already. I figure I'll save diving into that baseball time. I've done some digging to give him a genuine comparison.
Okay.
Of where some outfields are. I got a list of guys. I went through all 32 teams today just for that question.
The reason why I actually wanted to bring it up is because Evan Carter took Yoshinobu Yamamoto yard in his first career ever start.
We're gonna call that Mike. Okay, but it's spring training starts. Spring training is for the pitchers to go, hey, today we're gonna work on locating our fastball on the low inside corner. And they're just gonna throw the fastball on the low inside corner the whole time. It's not, they don't use spring training to work on hitters. I'm not saying that Evan Carter's not gonna be a phenomenal baseball player, but I would pump the brakes on getting excited on hitting a home run off Yamamoto first thing in the preseason.
They went yard, so
This is true, but like I said, I'll come back. I want to save some baseball talk there. Because there's a few things that came out in the NFL. Obviously, we know the combine starts ramping up really tomorrow, right? That's when we're going to start seeing field testing. A little bit of fun did come out though. We had the Players Association organization rankings. Did you see those?
Yes.
So
yeah.
I can't find a list with everyone's rankings. I know who the best organization in football is. I mean, as if we didn't already know.
The
It's
Miami
Miami Dolphins. I mean, who wouldn't want to play in Miami? I'm actually ashamed by the fact that they gave our head coach an 8th place ranking. He's still got an A, but I mean, across the board, the Dolphins have a better report card than I ever had. A-, A-, A plus, like, goodness. But then I saw some crazy ones, like the ownership
What's up,
for
Josh?
Josh, we got it. Oh,
Josh
I'm
is
off
in
the
there.
other one. Hey, buddy. Bust. Then we've got, what was it called? The Chiefs owner got an F. The Steelers owner got a D minus.
Yeah.
There were some of these, like, historic franchises
some
that were
really bad
looking at
ones.
them and you're like, wow.
And just to stay local, the Cowboys were right in the middle, like they always are.
But they
got
took
a
a
B
drop.
minus. But the one thing that I noticed, they had the same issue last year, and it was with the training staff. So that hasn't changed. Like everything else is fine. I think the ownership was like a B plus or something. But like an overall total, like it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It was like a B minus wasn't that great, but for everything that happened, like it wasn't that bad.
From what I read, most of the teams were pretty generous to their coaches, except
Josh
there were-
McDaniels was very last. He was
there
the
were
worst.
4 coaches that got below a B, and all 4 of them were fired. It was Arthur Smith, Ron Rivera, and then the worst of all, because I can't remember the last one, but the other one, but the worst of all is Josh McDaniels had a D. Which I think D's generous. Like I think
Yeah,
you
I
should
would-
have just
I would
slapped
straight
the
up
F
give
on
it
him
an
and move on with your life.
Absolutely. All right, so do want to answer some of these questions here.
Oh yeah,
Tyler Lambright, you asked about Jaden Daniels to NOLA or Las Vegas. He's going way before that. He's
Yeah.
going to be in the top 3.
They're gonna have to trade up to get him.
Yeah.
I wanted him in NOLA. Like I'm on the record that I would love for the Cajun boy LSU Tiger to end up in New Orleans.
Yeah.
But I think I'm really
Is he
scared.
Is he from Louisiana?
No, he's not.
Okay.
He's a Tiger. Once you're a Tiger, you know Joe Burrow's not from Louisiana, but
Yeah, but
we
you
don't
just
call him
said-
an
you just
Ohioan
call-
now.
you
We
just
call
call
him
him
a
a Cajun
Tiger.
boy.
Hey, they're Cajun boys. They play. You went to Heisman at LSU, you're a Cajun boy. Any of my LSU fans will come in here and say the same thing.
If you looked at my recent mock that I put out yesterday, I actually have Jaden Daniels going number 2 to Washington. And some news came out today that the Patriots, or at least Bill Belichick, was really hot on Jaden Daniels. And he was actually wanting to draft him. So they're still at 3. There's not really an opportunity for them to trade up because both teams need quarterbacks.
Yeah,
So
the only
they're not going to be able to trade up.
I mean, I did have a hypothetical trade that I said because of the whole thing about
I saw you commented
Did
on
you find it?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw
So
that.
I've said that we've had the people that
No,
say
he
Caleb-
won't, Cheyenne. No, he won't.
What? Did you want?
Hey, what did you call him last week?
Don't ask me to say his name.
No, what did you call him last week?
Dejeen? How do you say his name?
No, what'd you say last week?
I don't remember. I said it so
You
wrong.
thought he was Hispanic.
Oh, yeah, Dejuan.
Dejuan,
Oh,
yeah,
Dejuan.
yeah, Dejuan. That's
I thought
what
he
it was.
Mexican. I thought we got to count Hispanic as white people because we don't have any corners, so. But that's the look comp people are giving him. We just saw someone do it at Lamar for Jaden. Pretty much what the comparison is. I like Jaden Daniels just strictly football player wise. Lamar did more in college. Jaden Daniels really only had a good season last year for LSU, but then last season was extremely good. Very Joe Burrow like.
Yeah.
In how he went from nothing to something very quickly.
So, with how much I follow the draft, one of the things that I thought about today, since the Combine is here, was after the draft, Dane Brugler and a lot of other people, they put out a super early mock just to let people know who to watch for in the coming season. Jaden Daniels was not on that list. Just like like when Joe Burrow came out, Joe Burrow was not on the list prior until all of a sudden he had just that superstar rising. But there was it's interesting to watch those first mocks to see how much they had changed from all these different players that are actually now in it to some that stayed in school, but mostly they all just kind of fell. Some of the major ones was like Jeremiah Trotter. Like he was a top 15 pick at the beginning of or at the end of the year.
I'd say the one
and
that
now
really,
he might be a third rounder.
Say the name that I see that keeps sliding down a lot was Kool-Aid McKinstry. If you looked at his name a year and a half ago, he was like the top 3.
He was the number 1. He was the number 1.
There were people saying Kool-Aid McKinstry was going to be the number 1 pick. He was such a good corner.
No,
and then
not that far.
I've
he was
seen
the number 1
just that
corner.
kind of love.
Yeah.
And now he's like barely on the first round
corner-
board for a lot of people.
quarterback 5. Yeah.
So definitely a few of them there.
The other one, the best receiver in the draft, I feel like Preston is being a homer. Maybe.
No, he's not. He's not an LSU fan.
No,
actually.
okay. Well, never mind.
He's a fantasy football nut. He is
the
guys.
I will say this: there is not a big separation between Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze. I think that they're essentially 1A, 1B, and 1C. What separates them is like this much. Like it's very close.
The measurables.
Yeah, it's
the paper measurables.
What you're going to
will be
like
big
about
deal.
a player is what's going to separate them. Like it's not, oh, Marvin Harrison is head and shoulders above everyone. It's what you're going to actually like about that player more is what's going to make you want them. So I don't think Marvin Harrison is locked as the receiver 1. But I think there's a good possibility that he's going to be the first one.
I will also say the thing that hurts, that I don't know if it's going to hurt Jaden Daniels, but it will help him, is it's very similar to Burrow, is that Burrow in college had 2 top-end wide receivers that he was throwing to in Jefferson and Chase. Daniels has now proven that there's 2 wide receivers coming out of LSU this year that are very well going to go in the first round. One's probably going to go in the top 10, or guaranteed go top 10 in neighbors.
Mhm.
But then you have Thomas, who very well is going to go in the mid-20s. He could be a guy that the Chiefs are looking at possibly in the late first round even.
So Brian Thomas, it's weird because he's got a weird situation where there's just going to be a lot of teams in a row that don't need a receiver as much as another position. Like, he could end up being a top 15 pick to ending up at 26.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just because of the teams there that have needs and players that are actually there that you would want.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, you got to take need over BPA. It's like the need is BPA, so you take it.
Exactly.
So, like, he has that trajectory where he could fall. And Cheyenne, you're bringing up Roman Wilson. I did have him in my first mock in the first round. I don't have him in this one. But I did hear a little bit more about how he is going to be a draft riser, and don't be shocked if you see him in the bottom of the first or at least the top of the second.
Well, Cheyenne just said something else I find to be insane here, though. Washington, are you saying number 1 wide receiver when you say that, Mr.
Yeah,
Bernard?
because Scary Terry.
Scary Terry's a legit number
Yeah.
1 receiver. He's been a number 1 receiver for a while.
Yeah.
Scary Terry was basically what DJ Moore had to deal with having no one good to throw to him at his first stop. So, Scary Terry's a stud, and
I
I don't
disagree
put,
with that.
you know what?
No, I disagree with what he's.
Oh
what
yeah,
he's saying.
100%. Because I don't think the weapons are really the problem. I think you could walk in right now. I mean, you might want to help in the running back room a little bit, but at wide
Well,
receiver,
I don't know. I mean,
well, no, I just got Brian
Yeah,
Robinson.
you got
He's
Brian
looked pretty darn
Robinson. He's
good.
done-
Like
he's
I
done
would
good,
say, really and truly, it's
the
protect.
other one, Antonio Gibson, he's a free agent. So I mean, you can find someone like him.
Yeah, but you still got after Scary Terry, you have Jahan
Stop.
Dotson.
Stop. He's not a big playmaker.
Oh my
Stop.
gosh, he led the league in catches and separate with minimal space or something 2
This
years
dude,
ago.
This
All right,
clown.
leave the Michigan guys to the side.
Uh,
So, I don't know if we've done that. Is it shareable?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it's shareable, Josh, because they have to join the group.
Oh yeah, is it a private group?
No, the group's not private. It's
Okay.
public for anyone, but we just have to share the group more. So I'm not quite sure how to do that because we posted on a different video feed there.
Yeah.
We'll call it a learning curve. We just wanted more to it.
Oh, you wanted drama, I'm giving it.
So- But no, I mean, I don't know. The combine part's fun. I mean, that's the only bummer about leaving for the cruise is that I don't get to watch all the people running fast. Like, I'm a huge 40-yard dash guy. Like, I love watching them
I mean, it doesn't
take the mark and go,
like,
but it's okay.
With them dealing with the GPS stuff now and tracking that more than actual 40 time, they don't really care too much about the 40 time.
No,
the 40
but
is
I
more
watch
of just them going, okay, so that matches what our GPS
That's
tracking
okay.
is saying.
I want to see it still.
Yeah.
I've run
Well, hey,
slow my
why not
whole life.
explain this to these people.
Well,
They're
this
like
is
people
true.
like Cheyenne don't understand that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
he's a
that-
Michigan fan.
that's
And
a
he
chance.
roots for the Detroit Tigers and the Denver Broncos. Like, we got to give him a break and help him out.
This is true. And I'll say this. It gives me a chance to talk about my cool nugget we learned about the Combine. So, you know how the NFL rotates all of its events everywhere, but the Combine is always in Indianapolis. Me and him, I got to tell him this earlier. We discovered the reason why the Combine is always in Indianapolis. I found a little nugget on it. Thought it was cool, so I wanted to read it for everyone here. In 2008, when they built the Lucas Oil Stadium, where the Combine is held in Indianapolis, the reason that they did it is they ran fiber optic lines underground that connect to the local hospital. Those lines allow them to analyze over 600 MRIs and 1,200 plus X-rays all in real time so that they can knock out as many of the medical evaluations for these players as they can. So, if you ever wanted to know why, we now know why Indianapolis is basically going to be the home for as long as it wants to be the NFL Combine. It's not an event that they let fans into, though I would pay for a ticket for that. Would you pay a ticket to go watch the Combine?
I believe it's free to get in.
I didn't think they let people in. I thought it was like closed event.
Yeah, no, Matt Sante is going.
Okay,
He's going to be there.
That's awesome. Now I want to go to Indianapolis and see that.
Yeah,
They can have a place to stay up there.
I believe he said that it was free to get in.
Okay.
So yeah, and I was trying to type it out, but I messed up. Cheyenne, the starting left tackle, I believe, is Charles Leno for Washington. Not the greatest, but not bad. They're also going to be likely signing Laken Tomlinson, who the Jets just cut. Someone, if you don't want to go to Indy, someone had actually said that the GM that drafted him was on the 49ers, and then the GM or assistant GM went to Washington, and not Washington, who did he just play for? The Jets, and got him to go to the Jets, and now they're both in Washington. So it's a very good chance that they're about to have a starting left guard in Laken Tomlinson, who's pretty good, but he's not the best pass blocker. He's a really good run blocker. So,
Okay.
Hit or miss on that one.
That'll work. Well, before we go any farther, I will take a second because we're doing live. We need to shout out some of our people here. One, we haven't gotten to talk to him much, and he still helps us out here and there and talking about us. But S&K Consulting for my buddy Stephen Farmer. He is the guy that helped me write my resume, get all that stuff in line. So anyone looking for jobs, looking for anything like that, reach out to him. Give him a talk. Let him see what he can do to help you out. The other one I'll give is my buddy that does my jerseys here. I gotta stand up. You can't see it very well. Diamond Dogs, our softball team's new hoodies. So Chicano Charlie and Chicano Sports, if y'all need any jerseys, hit them up. I told him I'd take a second to shout him out while we were doing everything. And since it's freaking 45 degrees after it was 90 2 days ago,
yeah,
I'm a little pissed about the cold weather thing and the fact that I'm having to record in a hoodie. Most of y'all know we record in the garage, so
it's
no heat.
It's backwards because I got the phone facing this way, so that's why it's backwards. So I could actually probably turn that around, but
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Now we'll know for next time.
yeah, we'll do
This
it
will
next
be
time.
this is our trial run. Next week we have a vacation week because I'm going on vacation, and then the next week we'll
because I was inverted.
I don't get it.
Oh my god,
Was I supposed to?
it's Top Gun.
I've never seen it. Yeah, never seen Top Gun.
Oh my goodness.
I've read a book. I'm working on my second book this year though. Do I get points for that? I'm listening to Aragon.
Oh, okay, yeah. Christopher Paolini.
Well, I don't know.
Paolini.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I just know that I'm like, a dragon's in it now, and that's pretty cool. So I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? I thought I get points. I'm listening to a book. But in this video. No, alright. So that said, though, there's really not a ton we'll get. I mean, there's football going on, but I mean, outside, do you have any other players that you wanted to address or talk on while we keep going before we move into new sports?
Let's see. It was 6 this morning where I am. Oh, Tony, yeah, he's in Minnesota. So 6 degrees. Lord have mercy.
That's why I don't live north of the Mason-Dixon line.
Well, he's actually from Forney, but him and his wife moved to where she's from in Minnesota.
Yeah, well, living in Minnesota is
yeah.
better than living in Forney, and I live in Forney, so.
He'd probably agree because you get to fish on a frozen lake and stuff. Like, it's kind of cool.
Never mind, that doesn't sound like fun at all.
No,
I just
it's
mean
really
this.
fun.
No.
Like, you get to them huts are warm.
Listen, my hands hurt in the garage, and it should be warm in here. I don't want to hear about the hut on the ice giving me anything.
How high are you on Powers?
That's a center,
I've
right?
got him to the Seahawks at 16. I think that's probably as high as he could go, but more than likely, it's either there, Pittsburgh, or Dallas. Those would be the main ones that would probably go for him. There have been a few people that don't even have him in the first round, but they have Graham Barton in it, which I disagree with. I think JPJ is higher than Graham Barton, so...
Powers is the only center that I've heard the name of in the draft.
Okay, well, Zach Frazier is technically the best center in this draft, but he broke his leg in the last couple games of the season, so he's still recovering from his broken leg.
So not too dissimilar to Jonathan Brooks is the best running back because he's hurt. Most people are like, it might hurt his draft a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he was the running back one. He still might be the running back one because it's a class that's not really strong in running backs. But I don't
know. They say it's not strong at running back.
Well, you're wrong.
I feel like a good offensive line can help make the running back anyway. So I don't stress a good running back class. Like if you can give me I don't want Deuce Vaughn small, and I don't need. I just being honest. Like there's your example. I don't need Deuce Vaughn small, and I don't need Derrick Henry big. If you can give me a 5th round pick, a 4th, 5th, or 6th round pick that looks like Isaiah Pacheco or even a Pollard, like someone built in that average size NFL back, good physical condition to take a couple hits, I think I can get running back production out of him?
The best defender is Terrion Arnold. That's everything that I've heard from basically everyone is Terrion Arnold is the best defender in the class. After that, it's kind of up in the air because it's ranges between Kenyon Mitchell, Nate Wiggins, Cooper DeJean. That's pretty much the only ones. Like Kool-Aid McKinstry has kind of fallen down, so he's not really in that mix anymore. But it's really in between those four.
DeJuan.
DeJuan. As the quarterback too.
He's gonna be a Dolphin.
But defensive end, edge rusher wise, I mean, Laitu Latu is pretty much the best one, but because of his injury history and the fact that he had to medically retire because of his neck, even though he has played 2 clean seasons, like it's still kind of a pretty big concern. I wouldn't see him actually going off the board first. So, like in my mock, I have Dallas Turner and then Verse, and then Laitu Latu.
Okay.
But just corners, yeah, there ain't no safeties like anyone's really talking about other than maybe Tyler Newman. He's pretty much the only safety, but there's not anyone talking about a safety that could even touch the first round. I think Newman is probably mid-second at best.
Safety is kind of safety and linebacker are becoming those positional value
So-
drop-offs too. Like you really have to have been exceptional
A little bit,
nowadays
yeah.
to get
Little
into the first round. Like unless you're a pass rushing linebacker, they don't really care much for the tackling linebacker. Like
So,
it really isn't a thing.
Edgerrin Cooper, from what I've seen, is actually shooting up some boards. I've seen him in the first round one of people that I follow and pay attention to.
Okay.
I've actually seen him in the first round, which kind of shocked me because throughout this whole process, the only linebacker that was in the first round was Jeremiah Trotter, and then of course, he didn't have a good season, so he failed dramatically. And then it was Junior Colson and Edgerrin Cooper as these two that were kind of like these guys that were good, but they weren't good enough to be first rounders. And now Edgerrin Cooper is apparently kind of taken over as the linebacker one with the possibility of going the first round.
Well, all right. Cool.
It's a possibility. Like in my mock, I had him at the top of second, but it's a very big possibility that it happens. So you never know.
All right.
But
Well, that'll be. I mean, we'll definitely know more in 2 weeks once we get through the combine. We'll start getting into pro days.
and
He'll have another mock by then, right?
yeah, I'll have
Oh, yeah.
I actually have the one I put out yesterday is an unofficial one because I'm waiting for some of the numbers to come back for the combine. Like I don't have to submit my actual mock until the 2nd. So I have a few days before I have to submit my actual final mock for this round. But then I have another week or two before I have to submit another one, after free agency, and then my final mock.
That's right.
But-
And now, for the ones who don't know, some people won't know. You want to give a shout? What do you do your mock?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I guess I could have
Some
done
new
that
people
earlier.
here, they might even know this.
I mean, I do mock drafts for the Huddle Report. We basically kind of combine a lot of mocks and they grade them to see how good people do based on their grading system. I've been middle of the road, middle of the pack really, but I've done pretty good based on information that I've gathered from other mock people and analysts that their information. Like I don't have actual people that I can talk about and go to, but I can follow their stuff, listen to them, read, figure out what they're talking about, and then kind of make my stuff through all that information, and that helps. And yeah, Mario, it's a lot like Jalen Phillips' situation where he had to retire and come back.
Which I hope he comes back super strong next season.
And then
Mario, I know you do too.
do y'all think it's possible that Byron Murphy is in Dallas? To be honest, I think Byron Murphy is a top 15 pick. I didn't think that like a month ago, but the dude everyone is talking about him. Every time someone talks about him, they talk about people in the NFL love him. Like he's not going to be available. The only one that's going to be available is likely Jerjon Newton. He's kind of slid down a little bit, but he's probably the defensive tackle that's going to be available. And I actually messaged Mario and Dustin a picture of people that Dallas has interviewed so far of defensive linemen, linebackers, and neither one of them were on that list, and neither was T'Vondre Sweat, just in case y'all were wondering.
Okay.
And then, let's see, what was the other one? Did you speak on that center you want to Dallas?
We caught that through.
Okay, Graham Barton. No, I haven't talked about him.
You didn't? Okay, I got the name mixed up.
So Graham Barton is really good. He's a really good center, or he's basically a tackle that has played his last year. At Duke he played tackle, but he's also played guard and center, and he has shown a lot of promise at the Senior Bowl when he practiced at center. So he's basically going to be getting drafted as a guard/center depending on what your team is going to need. He's similar to callback to Cheyenne here in his Michigan Wolverines, but he's a callback to Cesar Ruiz that the Saints drafted years ago, who was the center and has played nothing but guard for them. So,
all right,
that's kind of what he's going to be like.
That said, Preston, your fantasy football drop there, really and truly, this draft directly affects you. Talking draft talk, Mr. Dynasty draft season is coming up here. We're going to start as soon as the combine is just as big for us Dynasty nerd fantasy football players, because now we got to know what rookies we want. I don't know. Preston's one of those wheel and dealer type. He's one of those that won't sit on a draft pick longer than 5 minutes because it's burning his pocket to trade it. Same with his players. He'll text the chats every day. Who's feeling like making a move today? Some people are just
ready for
this
it.
is my off season. Give me a couple of weeks. Like Preston's not. He doesn't have off seasons.
Man, y'all don't want to see my phone and my notes. It's outrageous. Right now it's up there filming us. I have my work phone, so it doesn't have a lot of information that I have stored, but I have pages upon pages of information when it comes to the draft, fantasy draft, like all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. And yes, Preston, this receivers class is absolutely deep. Like you're going to be getting starters in the third round. Like you're going to be getting guys that can start in the third round.
Yeah, it's stupid good talent at receiver we've seen. Is that like J.J. McCarthy or Caleb Williams?
Yes.
Is that what we're getting there? That's great. Okay, now
Caleb
that it's back up, I'll say, if it's true that Caleb Williams doesn't want to be a Bear. Okay?
They've already had the interview, and he said that he's happy going to any place that takes him.
That's what they said. But a few weeks ago, all the talk was
where did that come from?
Probably his dad. But
it was a bunch of
just have fun with me here. Have fun with me here. I want to have a little fun here, and throw my just crazy thought is if he really doesn't want to. There's even a shred of doubt that he doesn't want to be there, and you're the Bears. The last thing you want is a quarterback that doesn't really want to be there.
That's true.
Yes, and then you've already basically run Justin Fields out. Whether there's no fixing a broken relationship at the quarterback position. So if you're Washington, why couldn't you flirt with the idea if the quarterbacks are if you really like another guy, if you're Washington, you watch this combine performance, you've watched Senior Bowl, you watch this season, and you just love Jaden Daniels, or you love May. Enough that that you're confident enough that you can say that one of those two could be our guy. Why not trade Washington the pick? Washington brought Kingsbury in because he works well with quarterbacks. If he's already got a relationship with Caleb Williams, why not? You can probably get draft picks. You're probably going to get Deron Payne is the name a lot of people link to the mock trade there. Just saying.
I know.
It worked out well for Washington. For the Bears.
The one thing that I would say is they've already kind of shed some of their defensive line by trading them. So now you're depleting your defensive line even more with one of your best. I don't think they do that. That's one thing that I don't think they would do.
Okay.
Because they've already had to get rid of Sweat and Chase, who has failed. Yeah. But they had to basically get rid of two cornerstones that weren't really cornerstones anymore. Okay. And now you're talking about the guy dead center in the middle. That's
So even if you drop him off the deal, even if you just get the picks, if you move back the one spot, you could in theory move back one spot, get May. You're probably going to trade Fields You call up New England, see what they're looking at. What if New England likes Fields? You don't know. If they don't, you still have the 8th or 9th pick, whatever it is. You have whatever you just got from Washington is more firepower. You can easily move back up to 3. Just like we watched Houston do last year. And go, okay, now we want MHJ, Neighbors. You pick your guy. You put that one across from, now you have more MHJ, Kmet, running backs that, and hell, if you wanted to be it, you've got rookie contracts
Roschon
across
Johnson,
a lot of
baby.
field. Well, you have Roschon, but you go there. Any quarterback set up to succeed with those kind of weapons around him. Like,
and their offensive line honestly is not bad.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a lot of people wanting to mock a tackle to the Bears at their second pick, and it just, in all honesty, to me, it doesn't make sense because they love. I can't think of his name right now. Braxton Jones at left tackle. They love him. So every time someone mocks it, I'm like, look, like he had a down year, but it wasn't like awful. It was not good, but they love that dude. So they're not going to move on for him because he was like a 6th or 7th round pick. So he's cheap and he's been good. So they're not going to move on.
Exactly. I don't know. I just feel like if there's any shred of doubt that Caleb Williams does not want to be on your team, if I'm the GM, I'm taking that into consideration. I don't want to force the guy to like where he's at. We've seen how that works out. It's going to make him reluctant to work and everything else. I'm moving back a spot. I'm getting, or farther, depending on what all you could get. But if you think you can move back to 2, if you really think Washington could make the move, would make that move, especially because we talked about Washington has all the pieces around their offense that you could plug in and plug and play and be a contender, at least in your division, pretty quickly. I mean, the division's pretty good division.
It's a pretty stacked. Well, I mean, other than the Giants, but
other than the Giants,
the
Eagles are
Eagles and Cowboys.
Yeah, but you could at least be wild card contention, work your way up with that growth. You've got weapons to make them successful. Like I don't know. I guess I just see that as if there's a doubt, you make the move. That's kind of my thought there. Oh yeah, he's gonna go for it. MHJ would be ruined, and I wouldn't be upset. Screw New England.
Also, Fields to Atlanta.
That sounded pretty aggressive today too.
Yeah, and there was a video that came out today of apparently Justin Fields jumping up and down, excited about something, and you could hear someone say, "You're going home." Like that's kind of started a little bit of some fire. I'm not 100% sure how legit that was, or if it was meaning something completely different.
I don't trust the Bears coaching staff, so I think that Fields will, if Fields gets moved to the right situation.
Well, it'll be in the next 2 weeks because like they're gonna they're if they don't make a decision in the next 2 weeks, then they're not taking a quarterback. Like that's what it is basically, because you're closing your window on what you could get. Because a lot of these teams are going to be trying to get Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill, which I know it's not that great, but
I'm taking
you can take
Tannehill.
Right, you can get Tannehill and worry about a quarterback in round 2. And that way, you're not focused on a quarterback no more. Well, you're not going to have to give anything up to get Tannehill. He's a free agent.
True, and you've got guys in this draft in the second round that you...
Nix and Penix.
There's
a good opportunity that Spencer Rattler goes in the second round. I've even heard
he's getting a lot
Travis
of love
in the second round. Like, there's several guys that can go in the second round.
And have potential to be decent, NFL guys at some point. So, all right, let's do one more NFL question, then we'll move it on. All right,
one more NFL question.
Because it's a hot topic question for the local folk here. Mr. Richard Cole, Richie, going to throw out the question of what the Cowboys do with Dak.
Oh, they're going to sign him.
He said, what should they do? What do you want them to do?
They should resign him.
That's what I think.
Look, so you can't move on from a quarterback that's good. Like he's not great, but he's not bad. Like he's better than 80% of the quarterbacks in the league. You can't move on from him unless you have something in place to do it, or you somehow end up with one of the top 3 picks. And even then, like you don't even know if they're going. They could bust. So I think when you have a quarterback like that, you're kind of stuck with them until something happens. Kind of like Romo. Like we said the same thing about Romo. Like we're stuck with him because you can't get rid of a quarterback like that that's good enough to keep you in games or keep you in the playoffs. And then he got hurt, and we just happened to have drafted Dak in the 4th round, who just happened to be good enough to where you can't drop him either. Like, I know that he's kind of in that middle of the road where he's frustrating because there's things about him that just don't work. But at the same time, there are things about him that makes it work. And you can't get rid of that. Like, you have to pay that. You have to. Like, that's, as much as, like, I'm not the biggest Dak fan, but people that know me, I argue a lot against Dak. But in this kind of situation, like, you have to keep him. Like, you can't get rid of him.
Looking at how, I think the one perk of being another fan and living in the Dallas area is that being a fan of the Dolphins and knowing what it took to get, and I'm not even a Tua guy, but what it took to get from Dan Marino to Tua. Like, we had a drizzle of Chad Pennington, and that was about it. Like, there was nothing else. And so, you count your blessings.
Ryan Tannehill, just like a really bad coach.
We can't all be the Green Bay Packers and go from Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer to Jordan Love, who, good Lord, like, the love is coming in there.
Yeah, we'll see.
We don't know. And so, I'll say that he isn't, I mean, he's basically as good as Kirk Cousins is. I mean, that's like, I've heard the Black Kirk Cousins is a nickname for him hundreds of times. Like, it's not a bad.
That's who he is.
But you know what? You've heard Justin Jefferson and his talks about his extension say, like, I need to know what we're doing with Kurt because, like, he cares about Kurt enough. So if you're the Jefferson wants Kurt, then why wouldn't CD want Dak? Like, it's kind of the same. Yeah. You're about to have to pay both those guys. It's kind of the similar situation there. And I think as long as the team around Dak is still good, you have to try to win.
Yeah.
If the team around Dak was just awful and you were 7-9 every season,
stuck with a
then
large
I get
contract,
it.
It's
yes,
time to
I
move
get
on.
it. You blow it up, trade.
Yeah. That's the only time that you should move on from a quarterback that's, I would say, top. Man, I hate to say it, top 10.
I would say
he's top 12.
I would say top 12. On his worst day, he's still better than
half the people
17 quarterbacks in the league, so he's still in the top 15 on his worst day. So most days he's a top 10 quarterback. It's just that the
he
position
just doesn't do well. In
there's a curve that people are trying to grade it off, is because everyone wants Patrick Mahomes, and it's because Patrick Mahomes is that kid that wrecked the curve in your class that everyone else got a 70 and needed the 20 points of free grade, and Pat's like, nah, I got a 95, so y'all all get 5 points. Like. Yeah. Sorry, guys. He broke the curve. So, all right. So, with that said, well, technically you don't because you can finagle the contract situations in accordance. So
cap doesn't exist.
Yeah, you can float the cap. So
there's ways around it to get under it. I mean, look at the Saints. They before they adjusted the cap, they were 83 million over. They adjusted an extra 40 million, and then from cap things that they've done, they're already down to 40 something over the cap.
Yeah, it's already.
And they haven't even released anyone yet.
Yeah, it's just flipping switches and contracts. So.
It's just pushing money back further, which is going to get you in trouble later on. But as long as you can keep pushing it back,
and the salary cap keeps going,
going up,
like you can still fit the dang money in there.
Yeah.
It's not like baseball where the Reds were still playing Griffey last year as their. Ken Griffey Jr. was the second or third highest paid player on the Cincinnati Reds last year, and that team almost made the playoffs. So, but with that said, I will slide into baseball. We are now in the thick of spring training. We've got games going now. We still don't have Jordan Montgomery on a baseball team. We still don't have Blake Snell on a baseball team, but the Cubs did bring back Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
Bellinger got 3 for 80, which probably isn't what he wanted to get after a season that was almost as good as his MVP season. But I will say that he does put the Cubs in a situation for the NL to be a contender. He's a very good baseball player. Like, he has MVP potential. We've seen him win an MVP.
Yeah.
So the fact that it went this long into it, the MLB really has to figure something out. I don't know how you can make guys sign, but Major League Baseball, more than anyone, is dealing with some TV rights issues because of everything going on there.
I'm fairly certain I heard that Jordan Montgomery, the reason why he hasn't signed yet is because he's still injured and teams are not wanting to sign him.
Okay, I heard something to do with his agent also.
Really?
His agent, because he's a Scott Boras guy, and Scott Boras has never really been the guy to take less than 99.9% of what he could get. So, I mean, Scott Boras is probably the greatest agent in the history of sports. I don't think there's any arguing that. That guy takes care of his clients. His clients all love him for the most part. I will say that if I heard this earlier today on the radio in Dallas, actually, or yesterday, if I'm Jordan Montgomery, though, like, at this point, I'm signing a 1-year deal, and I'm probably just going back to Texas and saying, screw it, I'll run it back. Because the thing with the Rangers is that as good as the Rangers offensively are set up to be, the pitching staff, especially at the starting rotation, is going to have problems coming out the gates. You've got too many injuries. You're going to have Scherzer's going to start the season on the IL. You know you're still not going to have Jacob deGrom back. You're really going to depend on Eovaldi needing to be basically what he was last season, which is possible. I'm not saying Nate Eovaldi can't be that guy, but Eovaldi, as we saw last season, is an injury guy. You can chalk him down to miss 3 to 5 weeks. Like, it's going to happen.
The Rangers have several of those.
Oh, the Rangers do. I'll say the Rangers were the king of signing the injury-prone guys and it working out last season.
Did it? One of them
It worked out pretty well.
I mean, we won the World Series.
If you win the World Series,
one of them we didn't win because of him at all.
There's one rule. You win the World Series, there's no such thing as a bad move. All moves are good moves.
Okay, I'll agree with that.
I see your question on Trevor Bauer. Every team in baseball should sign Trevor Bauer. Anyone who's not's an idiot. That dude's a Cy Young candidate if he wanted to pitch right now. He's still that good. He just dominated Japan after taking a year off of baseball. Baseball's blackballing him. I couldn't scream loud enough that guy deserves to be on a team. Any team in baseball. I don't care. And he's literally already said that he would play for nothing. Like, he was like, you can pay me.
Yeah.
I'll come pitch, and then on the weekend, I'll sweep the stadium. I just want to be in the big leagues. Like, give the guy a shot. I'll be here for hours if I talk on Scott Boras for you there, Tyler. Or not Scott Boras, on Trevor Bauer. But the question that was sprung, the reason we're talking about the injuries is, we're moving up. We went to baseball and people jumped. Right now, the Rangers rotation to start the season is looking like Eovaldi, John Gray, Andrew Heaney, Dane Dunning, and Cody Bradford. Doesn't scream we're going to come out the gates hot on the pitching side for the Rangers side of things. But the question that we were posed on Facebook earlier was about the Rangers outfield.
Yeah.
Now, you know you're going to have Evan Carter, you know you're going to have Adolis, and you know you're going to have, I just went blank on his name, Leody Taveras. The questions a lot of people are wondering is does, you got to make me say his name right, Wyatt Langford. I was going to say his name wrong because I couldn't remember it. Is Wyatt Langford going to break the camp with the team? I just blank. I'll tell you this. I think Wyatt Langford is going to be a better baseball player than Evan Carter.
He probably will be.
If you think I'm going to say this. If you're a betting person, if you think that Evan Carter Wyatt Langford is going to make the team opening day, go bet on him to win Rookie of the Year. Like, the dude's a monster. He's built like Adolis. Like, they said that he walks into the room and he looks like as big, if not bigger, than Adolis. Like, he's massive. Fast, hits the ball well. There was apparently rumors that there was chances they called him up last year at the same time that they called up Evan Carter to let him be a part of the World Series run. Like, that's how much hype is coming in for him right now within the Rangers organization, within everything. My 10-year-old just asked if Mike is Buck's dad. Oh!
Do I really look that old?
That's greatness. I love that little world. But I'll say, now we're all just dragging about it. On the topic of it, though, I think that if you get Langford into the big leagues this season, I don't know that it pushes Leody Taveras out of the outfield because I still think Leody Taveras brings something to the table in the outfield. I think what it does is it opens up, you have a little bit of a question at DH. Justin Foscue is kind of your minor league guy that could have something to it. I would be just as content with moving Adolis to the DH spot because unfortunately the reason Adolis didn't get a big contract of any kind isn't just because of money. It's because Adolis is the odd man out in the Rangers' future. Like, you don't win the World Series without Adolis Garcia, but he's the odd man out. It is. There's too many guys in the farm system. You've got so many young outfield prospects that you're waiting on developing in. Yeah. You're kind of wanting to see if they are legit. But your question was, do the Rangers have the best outfield? I still, even with Langford, I would say that I have two teams that come to mind that I think are better outfields right now, looking at it. One is going to be, I'm going to say the second best outfield probably going into the season is going to be the New York Yankees. I hate to say this. I hate to say this, but you have Aaron Judge in center field, who, yes, the defense isn't as great, but you have to factor what he brings offensively. Alex Verdugo as a lefty going to Yankee Stadium, he hit 17 home runs last year. He's going to hit 30. Lefties hit home runs in Yankee Stadium. That's just what they do. And then Juan Soto, who is still younger than like half the league, and he's been in the league since 2018 and won a World Series and everything else. So I say that if you have 2 of the 10 best players in baseball in your starting outfield, you kind of have to have the best outfield in baseball, or at least the second best. The reason I'm going to say this the second best is because the Atlanta Braves are just stupid. Like, the Braves are that good, and they're slept on, and one of their outfield spots is Michael Harris is a stud in center field. Acuna is the best player, probably the best not Shohei Ohtani player in baseball. A healthy Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball.
Yeah.
You can't argue otherwise. But the Braves got Jared Kelenic from the Mariners. And people are going to be like, who's Jared Kelenic? Well, the Kelenic was drafted by the Mets in the first round. Kelenic's only 24 years old, I believe. I'm trying to find, I had his bio pulled up and my computer's going, you see this? It's moving on its own. It is possessed right now. Let's see here. Jared Kelenic, Atlanta Braves.
See if we can...
Stop moving, computer. There we go. Jared Kelenic. All right. He's 24 years old. Last year for the Mariners, he hit 253, 11 home runs. The Mariners lineup did not have nearly the protection that the Atlanta Braves lineup does. Any spot in the lineup, Jared Kelenic's going to have someone behind him that's been an all-star before, which means he's going to see more hittable pitches. And he's a 24-year-old 6'1 lefty that can play damn good defense. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now that I think the Atlanta Braves have they're the best team in baseball and the best outfield in baseball. What the Atlanta Braves have done as far as signing all their young talent, keeping all these guys for so young, I will say that is the thing to keep up with for the thing as far as that move goes. The Dodgers pitching rotation is going to be insane. We've talked about Yamamoto. Clayton Kershaw was still one of the best pitchers in baseball last year when he's healthy. He just has to be available, and now they have depth that he doesn't have to. They're going to get Walker Buehler back, so I don't know. He never joined the thing. I just said it out loud. Call him out. We're going to have to. We're going to have to do this again.
That's why I commented on there.
I'm saying it out loud. I want the whole Facebook feed to hear. Kevin
Bellicus.
Don't ask me how to say his last name. He's online. He's online on Facebook, but he hasn't joined yet. That's who's supposed to be getting his punishment for last place. So while we're here, though, I'll go ahead and say, are there any other? Oh yes, Giancarlo Stanton has cut weight. Did you see that?
No.
Giancarlo Stanton was like, I've been too focused on being big and strong this season. This offseason, he's been focusing on being a baseball player again. And they said, I believe he's lost like 20 pounds.
Oh wow.
Shredded down some weight. If you get him to where he was Marlins, Giancarlo Stanton, gee whiz, I'd hate to see the Yankees. Like, I don't like the Yankees, but Marlins Giancarlo Stanton was a beast. Adolis was a Gold Glover one time. I understand that, but the season, if you would have said to me last season that Adolis was your starting right fielder, or most people that watch baseball, they'd have laughed at you because, yes, he won the Gold Glove last season, but Adolis was a big arm that made dumbfounded mistakes in the outfield every now and then. Like, it's not like this Gold Glove he won last year was like the expectation of Adolis Garcia.
It was
Someone
the
dropped it in
powerful
there.
arm of just being enamored by his powerful arm.
So now that I've done that, I want to see.
Just like Lambert also said, the arm.
Yeah, exactly. He cannon for an arm. I'm not running on that guy. I mean, if I'm sending anybody, like we're not sending any fast. He's up there, but no, you got the question. He made some plays that you looked at and you're like, he made some easier plays look harder at times. But that said, were there any? Heck, I kind of want to see if we get any more baseball questions. Like,
y'all got any baseball questions?
It's
for
still
Bucky?
preseason. Y'all throw them out there. We'll ask them. I know. I answered a lot of the outfield. That drags us into. I'm making sure I didn't miss
He's
it.
a lot more
You have to jump a lot of tabs
into the baseball stuff.
Bradford is questionable as always. Oh, he's not.
He said, "I'd run."
I'd run. Yeah, well, I don't doubt that. He's on our softball team. Mr. Tyler is.
Okay.
He's one of the Diamond Dogs. $20 is $20. Oh.
Okay.
Oh goodness, but no. Other than that, I mean, it is going to be exciting as we get now that we're getting the ESPN highlights of baseball kind of kicking in. I was walking out of my office the other day when I got my first notification of a score update for a baseball game, and I was just like, yes, like it makes you excited to see those notes come in. Oh, here we go. How do you think the Reds are going to do this year with all that young talent? I love the Reds' talent. EY, Mr. Eric Young there. Let me pull him up. I know a couple of names off the top of the head are a little hard to say, but one, getting back Ellie De La Cruz, that guy, he is something special to watch. The speed on him for that he has, getting him at shortstop. I think the craziest part about the depth of the Reds is that you have Jonathan Indy, who was a Rookie of the Year winner just 3 or 4 years ago, who's still playing very good baseball, and the current listings that I'm seeing for him as far as mocking him on defense and stuff was showing him as the DH because they had you have to put De La Cruz at shortstop. Where to go? Here it is. De La Cruz at shortstop. Matt McClain played a solid shortstop last season after De La Cruz got hurt, so that moves him to second base. So now Jonathan India is your DH because they signed Yammer Candelario. I'm not going to say that they're ready to go out and win the Central yet. I think that they still have pitching. Big question marks in pitching. The Cincinnati Reds have always had that problem. It's kind of they're the Angels in that front where they can't find consistent pitching. But I would say that I would say you're in for a fun baseball season. Like you're probably going to have a team that's near the All-Star break you're looking at and going, hey, we're only 7 or 8 games out because I think the division is down. The Brewers lost a few pieces. The Cubs have some young guys and have some people, but I even as a Cubs fan, I'm not sold on the Chicago Cubs this season. The Pirates improved their roster some. You still have O'Neal Cruz will come back healthy, Ke'Bryan Hayes, but same thing, just no pitching. Like you're depending on Martin Perez to be your number 3 starter if you're the Pirates. So that's not exactly ideal.
Yeah, it's not.
I think that the thing that makes and breaks the Reds this season is Hunter Green has to take that step. Hunter Green was like Shohei in high school. He was the hit and pitch on both sides guy. Got drafted to the Reds. He throws like 106. Like it's insanely how hard he throws. He's not quite the kid from the Angels that was at Tennessee that can throw it 108 like a blink of an eye. But Hunter Green has to take that next step. He's got to establish himself as a legitimate starter, not just I'm good enough to be a starter that's constantly banged up. So that would be my thought as far as the Reds and where they go.
All right, and what about Jet Williams, the Rockwall kid, in spring training, getting a shot with the Mets?
I don't know that you see him make the big league team anytime soon. I can't act like I'm very well versed in how Jet's doing. I know he went to Rockwall Heath High School, down the street from me. But I can't say I know how much of what he's doing right now. I'll say this with the Mets in that ownership group, I would expect Jet Williams makes his debut on another organization. I'm just being honest. The owner of the Mets,
you're not wrong.
The owner of the Mets has proven that he's willing to throw his money around to win ball games, and he's very Rams-like, F them picks a strategy to it, where it feels like he's just going to start trading the young guys if he thinks he can win now. After the All-Star break, if he's still on the team, if he's not using a deal, I would say that if the Mets are in a position that they think they can compete for a wild card spot or something, I wouldn't be shocked if you see him being moved, though. But if he makes his debut with the team, I don't think he makes it this year, though, because he's a high school kid. You're 19 years old. It's really hard to work your way up. He'll be 20 now. He'll be 20 this season. He's during the season, I think, or already just turned it. Is that it? I know he was coming out of high school when he got drafted.
He's number 45 on the top 100 list.
Oh yeah, he's supposed to be a stud. Okay. I just don't know. He's built very Altuve-like. He's a smaller guy.
Oh, okay.
So I just don't think he cracks it yet. Preston, as far as Monty goes, absolutely no clue. Like we were talking about him saying, I think if I'm him, I re-sign a 1-year deal with the Rangers and just run it back. You're guaranteed. You're going to miss your first 2 starts probably at this late in the spring training. But
wow, he hit 5'6", 175.
Yeah, he's a little fella.
Ooh, he's a
little feller. And so I would put myself in a situation to win ball games that I could try to pitch high level baseball again and try to get another contract next year when hopefully more of the TV issues are fixed and there's more money out there getting thrown around. That's the main reason why we didn't see a lot of money moving around this season. You have a former Cy Young winner in Snell who hasn't signed either. So
weird thing that's going on right now. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. It's strange, and it's a lot of it's because of this Bally deal. Like, I'm really confused by how Bally keeps getting to promote games, but then they're bankrupt, and then someone else bought them, but that's only for certain teams. Like, I'm not even gonna act like I understand all the nuances of that. So, that said, baseball season will be kind of talked in throughout. I won't go too crazy while we're in spring training, so I will slide. We haven't seen any new questions in a second. I'm gonna slide into the NBA real quick. Did you see how the Mavs game ended yesterday?
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Well, it was the second longest game-winning shot in the history of the NBA.
I saw the highlight. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I did see the highlight.
And they're saying that Max Struss had the clutchest fourth quarter in the history of basketball. In the last 5 minutes of the game, he went 5 for 5 from 3, had 15 points, and hit a 58-footer to win the game.
Good Lord.
They showed P.J. Washington at one point, like after the bucket goes in to take the lead, and he's doing this, all excited, and then all of a sudden I see him, I'm ignoring him, and then all of a sudden you just see his hands go like this in defeat. So the Mavs are looking a lot better with the moves, but I'll say this, I don't think the Mavs win as long as Jason Kidd's the head coach. I don't.
Okay.
The Cavaliers are a big basketball team. My roommate, huge Mavs fan. The Cavs have their power forward and center, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, big guys. And for some reason, you brought Daniel Gafford in to help bring size and more, bring that to the team, and he only played 7 minutes in a game against Cleveland, who you would see being a perfect matchup for him to see run against. He still leans on guys like Maxi Kleba, who, yes, Kleba's a very good basketball player, don't get me wrong, but from the minute Gafford stepped on the court for the Mavs, he's been playing better.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand why he doesn't. So I'll say I think that's going to be the question mark there. It's kind of like I don't think Oklahoma gets it done because we're still too young. I don't think Gordon Hayward is the veteran presence you need to push you over the top.
Yeah.
You're going to win it. You're going to get in the playoffs, and you're good enough to probably win a playoff series. But there's some question marks there as far as it goes. I also will say that I saw Luka's numbers since Christmas. Have you seen his numbers since Christmas?
I have not.
He's averaging, since Christmas, he's averaging like 40 points.
Jesus Christ.
12 rebounds and like 9 assists. Luka should be the MVP.
Good Lord. Whoa.
I'm gonna say that Luka right now should be the MVP. I think it's because the Mavs aren't like in the top 5 seeds in the conference is why they're not getting the love.
Yeah.
And he has missed a couple of games, and he doesn't always help as much on defense, but his defensive numbers have improved.
It's gotten better.
It has. He's playing.
I've watched a little bit of the highlights of it because
Yeah.
I don't like to watch basketball, but I'll watch highlights.
Yeah, his defensive efficiency has proved a lot this season. They're not picking on him as bad as they did in years past, and they did a good job putting guys around him. As far as that goes, so I would say that right now I would have to say I think Luka is your MVP. Now Embiid would have been the MVP. Obviously, he's not eligible, and even then, it could have been questionable because of how some of the other teams are doing and things like that. But so then, who's the face of the NBA? Is Giannis the face, even though he doesn't watch basketball outside of film? Does he really not? I didn't know that. I would say
I don't see why that would take him out of being the face of it, but to be honest, like. The face is still LeBron.
I don't think that
until LeBron's gone, LeBron's the face. Like you can have the young stars that are taking over.
Yeah.
But until LeBron's gone, LeBron's the face.
And I think that if you want to talk the next wave of guys that could become faces, you start talking SGA, you start talking Anthony Edwards. The NBA wanted it to be Ja Morant, but he couldn't keep his head on straight.
Yeah.
But Ja John Morant shows you all the signs that you want as far as on the court basketball, skill set and everything else. I mean, Joker, Joker just doesn't care enough to be a face.
Yeah. He is the one that I would say more than Giannis. He's the one that couldn't be the face because he just doesn't. Other than just loving to play, he doesn't care about basketball. He just likes to play it.
Did you hear the funny interview they asked him about though? Because you know how important his horses are to him. Like they asked him at the All-Star weekend, if you didn't get to play in, or if you passed away tomorrow, and one teammate had to take your horses, who would it be? And it was Aaron Gordon. And Aaron Gordon was the only person who's ever gone to his country. And
that's right.
And remember last offseason? Yeah. And Aaron Gordon was like, "I love you too, boo," and he was all over Twitter about it. So, I mean, he's clearly a good teammate guy. Tyler, that's a good question.
He's
not this year.
I don't think he's going to be in the draft this year.
I don't think so either. I think that we've talked about it. Taking LeBron out of the equation, I think that you're still seeing a young man who's recovering. I mean, they act like this kid should be playing like LeBron James level basketball. The steps he made through high school aren't showing right now because I just don't know that he's 100% back to things. Like there's moments where you see flashes of some of the potential there. The other thing that comes to Bronny is that Bronny's even more of a passer than his dad is.
Yeah.
Like Bronny was a point guard through most of his time at Sierra in high school, in Sierra Valley, not Sierra Mist, whatever it was, Sierra Canyon. That's it.
It's called something else now. It's not called Sierra Mist anymore.
You're right. That's called Starry. It's called Starry. Careful, sorry YouTube chick, don't find our page. But no, I will say I don't know. No, Bronny's definitely not NBA ready now. There are some really bad players in the NBA. As long as Giannis Antetokounmpo is still in the NBA, I think there's hope for anybody.
Yeah, I watched a video of, I forgot who it was talking. Oh, it was Pat Beverly.
Oh, I did
talking
see this.
About
how great of a teammate he is, and I can see
that's
that.
the reason why he's still there is because he's that person that motivates everyone else.
Yeah,
he's more of a coach, but he's on the team. He's part of the staff, but he's gets to play sometimes.
Yeah, there was a funny interview with him doing there's great clips of him doing just really boneheaded moves on the court. So that makes for a good laugh. But no, I don't think we're not gonna see Bronny play in the NBA. I also don't know that they always said that LeBron was gonna play one more season. Well, as soon as Bronny played, he'd play one season and be done. I don't know. I feel like the dude still loves playing basketball. He's still hanging 27 points a night. Take all your bias away and just look at age and what that guy's doing at his age and how long he's played basketball. It's incredible.
It's a lot of the technology today.
Absolutely.
Being able to understand how to heal better, eating the right way to keep your body in the perfect way to keep playing.
You never saw LeBron from the age 16 take a day off on making sure that he was physically in shape to be what he needed to be.
There's a lot of players. I mean, not Larry Bird, but he had back issues. But
and he drank beer 12 packs a night.
Yeah, there are players back in the day. I feel like if they had this opportunity to have the science that we do now of what to do and how to prepare your body, they would have played a lot longer. So. It would have been a little bit different, and LeBron still would have had all the points and probably still would be where he's at. But I think the points would have been harder to get to because people would have played longer because their bodies would have been there better.
Because there were players that what's his name, Kareem. Kareem was a big time guy on taking care. He was a meditator. He was all that kind of stuff. So I would say that he's a guy that would have benefited from the technology, like you're talking about. Like I said, their magic situation was a little off the ball. There's nothing that would have fixed that for him. But
no, because nowadays they would have known that it would have been okay.
True, he probably wouldn't have had to. Yeah.
So
Sims. We're gonna assume that he's no showing and that we're gonna have to reschedule that. We're kind of liking. I don't know. We'll take a second. I don't have anything else really NBA, so We'll take a second here as we kind of are near the end there. We try to run between an hour 10 to hour 30. Sometimes
Where
we
we
get
at?
excited and go long. We're at an hour 10-ish.
Oh, okay.
So we're a little on the shorter side, but why not? Why live? What are you thinking about the first time doing this, simulcasting it basically?
I kind of like it. I like it.
I do.
better.
I think it
Yeah.
it
You get to
engages.
react with people.
Yeah, having the reaction, it'll be fun putting it on there. Especially since we were limited on how we could post, since we aren't exactly, Pat McAfee Studios here. We don't have all the cameras and all that.
Yeah.
Like, thank God for iPhones.
Right?
So I'm doing it. How about this? We still got 7 people on. We've had some that have been on since the beginning, and the ones that have been on since the beginning, just acknowledge that your friends pay attention to this stuff.
Mhm.
Like, we're watching,
appreciate
and we
y'all.
know that value means something to us. We're excited to see more people joining in the future, but take a sec, put down what y'all think,
And more questions.
Yeah.
Because we plan on doing it for another 20 minutes or so.
yeah, if you got more questions, ask them any sport. Bring
Any
out the
sport.
wild part. I do have one
Movies,
more fun
whatever.
MLB thing for you. You've seen the All-Star Game tickets and all that are coming?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so All-Star Game tickets and stuff are on the secondary market. If you'd like to go to the All-Star Game, you're paying as high as $5,812.
Lord.
If you'd like to go to the All-Star Game Home Run Derby, you're paying as high as $6,184. The Home Run Derby costs more than the game does. And that's only on Vizio, I think is the only place that I can find the tickets at.
Really?
Yeah, right now it looks like they're Vivid Seats, excuse me.
Yeah, I was gonna say Vizio's that TV.
Yeah,
but
Vizio's the TV.
That's why I was like, really?
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna pretend. No, but there's $524 seats. It's insanely high. I'm not gonna do it. Thank you, Mr. Eric Young, sir. We got a shout out best far show quality there. But
That's what I flexed for.
yeah, is that what it was? I didn't see it. It is weird because we have it here so we can see the questions, and then we have
Yeah.
the camera up there, but you learn the delay. Like Facebook has a solid. What would you say that delay is? About 3 seconds?
No.
Not even
that's-
that. Maybe not that
That's
long.
probably about 10.
Oh, you think it's that long even?
Yeah. Because I flexed.
Stop, Preston.
Then you didn't even see it. And it showed it over here. And then yours did it. So it's close to 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's a good delay in the event of it. Yeah, we definitely are. I'm less nervous.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Early days, there was some like tentativeness. I think we're also a little better at not getting too excited with our point. Some of the early shows, we'd get excited when we have a point. We'd be like, "No, hold on," and like cut the room off. So we both figured out our strengths. Like
Yeah.
we know that, Mike's the draft guy. Like I'm gonna ask the questions, but I'm not gonna tell you the third offensive tackle on the board. Like it's just not gonna happen. I'm gonna pay. I keep a pretty well versed in a little bit of all of it. I mean, I haven't gotten to get excited about USA soccer yet. Not much to talk about. That's why. Don't worry. World Cup soccer season
racing.
will
Hey,
bring
we
it.
can talk about some racing.
Yeah, there was.
What happened in the racing world?
Yeah,
Let's,
what happened in the last NASCARs? And there's hockey. The Stars are apparently sucking right now. I think they've lost like 5 in a row.
Oh, man.
For our Stars fans out
Who
there.
could the Rangers get
Let's-
in the season as a trade for bullpen help?
Oh, actually, I did see this. The hockey trade or the NASCAR race was a 3-way
Oh yeah,
photo
yeah.
finish. It
The
looked like
Cars
the
finish.
movie Cars. Yeah,
That's
Daniel
right.
Suarez won it. And if you haven't seen it, you got to look this picture up. I don't think I can share it on here, but you know what we can do?
See you later, Josh.
I can share the link on ESPN so that people can go find it. Looky there.
Look at you.
Look at me using my ingenuity. Y'all go down to the bottom and look at the photo of how close this race was. You blink and you've missed the whole thing. It was insane how quick that ended there.
That's not funny, Josh.
What do you say?
It's been
all right.
fun, but it
Who
hasn't
can
been
the
real
Rangers
good.
get in this season
I'm just
as a
kidding.
trade
Appreciate you staying,
to
man.
help for the bullpen? That's a good question. I haven't really looked at bullpen options that are out there. I mean, I'll say this. Every time that a team that I like traded for Chapman, they've won the World Series. So, I mean, it was a little iffy at times, but the Cubs won one, the Rangers won one. I'm 2 for 2 there. So if either one of my teams wants to, I'd be happy.
8-second delay.
8-second delay? Oh, we have a
I
count.
counted it,
Oh, Drew's
yeah.
counting?
I went to grab my drink and then counted. So it's 8 seconds.
Oh, well darn.
It's a good movie too.
Apparently my link doesn't work. Thank you for letting me know. I'll try to figure that out too. And we added new boxes today.
Yeah.
I spruced the place up when we decided we were gonna go Facebook Live.
That's what I brought my hats for.
But yeah, I was like, you know what? We're gonna see direct viewership. We should probably liven up our desk space, things like that. I think we'll be able to build off of what we've done today too, though. I think that taking the questions, being able to still flow our content, having a notes of how we want to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now that because we just dropped this morning that we were gonna do this, that like me and him, I kind of told him the idea about a couple of days ago. We didn't really talk much on it until really today. So I think it does help that we'll be, it's kind of like Josh said about our nerves ticking out on the show. It's just going to be a different way that we can compound, build on it. That and we definitely discovered the, oh yeah, you do have that, don't you? The, he's got autographed jersey he's trying to move.
Oh, okay.
Joe Burrow.
We can put it in here.
Hey, yeah, I can hang it until you sell it, Preston. I told you. I can take down something. I'll move. We'll figure it out. Dirk can come down. He's just a big German. No big. I'm just kidding. I love Dirk. Can't act negative on it. No, but I don't know. It's been fun. It's varying, bringing in the different approaching.
I liked this way just because we can interact with people and talk to them, and that way when other people listen, or maybe they go back and listen, they can hear us talk again. I doubt you want to hear us talk again, but if you do, hey, cool.
And I also think that, this is something that, viewership wise, this will help us because now our group is going to see this, so more people will be able to engage in it, and that'll lead to that. Mind you, we had one person add today. We looked the other day, we were at 76 subscribers today.
That's what we
I
were
need
at last
24 when we were 75, I thought.
We added one.
We added one day, so there were 77. Yeah. Whatever it is, it's that ballpark. Get some friends to help us subscribe. We just want to touch 100 subscribers. We've been doing this almost a little over a year now.
He does.
I do. I want 100 subscribers. Like
you want to touch 100 subscribers.
Okay. High fives. Those are touches.
You're the one who wants to touch them.
Let's see. College baseball. LSU has another crew coming in at center field. He's very good. Same speed, maybe less bat. But do you think that they can the Green Bay Packers another center fielder like I don't think you get another crew.
Hold up, what?
I had to figure out his thought. I don't know that you get another crew there. Shut up, Preston. I don't know that you're gonna get another crew. Goodness, I just want to blank on Crew's name because Crew with a bat is an absolute wizard. It's honestly surprising that you haven't heard more from him at a Nationals camp because he was doing pretty solid for the Nationals. I need to kind of take a look and see how he's done there overall. But I would say that LSU has got a really good baseball program, but I'm a big Tommy Tanks guy, Tommy White. He'll be a first-round pick in next year's draft, third base prospect.
Okay.
Dude absolutely crushes the ball, hence the name Tommy Tanks. So these guys are getting me laughing now. That's going to be the only negatives. They start coming out with wild things like that. But now I'm laughing like, oh, well, whatever. Tyler, I got you at the tournament on the 9th when you get there. I'll give you a nice butt slap.
To touch 100 subscribers.
Hey, you know what?
Find out who all of our 76 subscribers are, and we'll let you touch them.
Little what's that?
A little cup check?
No, the football movie the one they're making a spin-off, an additional series for. Blue Mountain State. Where he's like,
fantastic show.
Are you not going to touch my butt? Like, why are you not touching my butt? Like,
Thad Castle.
I got you. Thad Castle. Oh, I saw a thing about him today that he apparently was asked about his different roles in movies and stuff, and apparently he had it all lined up. Oh, there's the delay of me standing. He had it all lined up to be Thor, and he didn't take it seriously. And and they decided to go. They moved on because they didn't feel he was taking the role as serious as they were ready to make their
and
MCU
then Taika
grow up.
Waititi made Love and Thunder.
Yeah. True. That's not a lie at all. I just mean that I don't know if they meant that because the first Thor wasn't a very serious. It was serious. Yeah, but apparently he didn't they didn't feel like he took
Thor
the
2
role
was too serious.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Hey, let's."
And 3 was
go
fantastic.
Opposite.
3 was fantastic.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ragnarok. Yeah.
Ragnarok. Ragnarok was a fantastic movie.
And then Thor
But
4,
they
Love and
leaned
Thunder.
too funny to
Yeah.
go to Thor on Love and Thunder. So, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
that was, yeah.
Where's that? My timer thing broke. Hold on.
All right.
Yeah. No, so that would be
Right over here. Just stand right in front.
what? Hey, yeah. Come on. You moved. You used to live closer than anybody that would be watching right now, and then you moved to Fort Worth. So I think of the people watching right now, Preston's probably the closest. I'm not quite sure where. Mario lives in Florida, right? He's not on anymore.
Yeah, he lives in Florida.
So, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Josh doesn't live as close. Where's Josh? Is he in Indian Wells?
I think he lives in Terrell, maybe?
Ooh, it could be a tight race between him and
I'm
Preston.
not 100% sure on that.
We won't give away addresses, but we'll give away your cities.
Yeah.
Preston's in Royce City, so.
Cheyenne is in Missouri?
Oh, well, that's a
Missouri?
terrible place. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for
Missouri.
your poor misfortune that you live in Missouri.
Like, he's weird. Like, lives there, roots for the Broncos and the Detroit Tigers.
I live in Dallas and root for the Dolphins, LSU,
Well, that is true.
the
Y'all are some weird
Cubs.
folks.
I'm pretty well versed in the varying thing. Also, you know, you give me a hard time because I always call the Indians and not the Guardians. So this thing came out the other day where it was popping up the Rangers feeds or where everyone would finish in baseball, and like it didn't even have the Rangers making the playoffs in it, but they did the Indians logo, the Chief Wahoo. So props to the people that understand the greatness. Could I bring some beer and sit in the front for your tour live? Absolutely. There's seats. You've been in my garage.
Man, there's seats in here.
There's chairs. I don't care. We were trying to simulcast the live feed to have someone on with us so he could do his punishment.
Yeah.
We'd probably let him talk while we did it. Like, I don't care. If someday we'll get more advanced, we'll learn to bring in people where y'all can join and talk with us.
Yeah.
Hell, the camera's got enough space. We can pop a chair right here. Phantom arm it. We'll just, move the green hat so that your face can be seen, and maybe some of our cool toys that we added to features. Look at him up for next week. 1 weekend of ball, 4 homers, not one. Well, we'll get him to come play on our softball team, Tyler. Let's hit some more tanks there. No, that'll be fun. I really don't have much more though. I think that I kind of rolled through questions. I was gonna play the vibe of how things were coming. You learned how to minimize it? There's a way to do that?
Yeah.
How do you do that? But I need the question part. You can't see the question.
No, I can't see the question
Yeah.
anymore.
See? Y'all learning. Just let me know when y'all need a fantasy
they're okay.
expert. Listen, I got you, Preston. When we get towards, as we get closer to fantasy draft season, I'm sure we'll do a little bit of a fantasy draft, kind of, not a special necessarily, but
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to.
we'll dive into it because he does 3 leagues. I do too many to say out loud. I cut one out this year. I saved
He
myself
does
one of
a
my
lot.
expensive ones. It's like 8. Not counting daily fantasy, not counting parlays. I think I might be more invested in my parlays though than fantasy leagues. That happens when you hit an 8-leg parlay for $1,000 though. It kind of makes you really love parlays.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to invite. I have to look that up.
Oh, well then good. We might not even have been able to invite him. So we
Yeah.
can still blame him for not showing up, but we can also blame us for not knowing how to use the technology just yet.
I know how to do it on my phone. I just don't know how to do it on the computer.
Oh, don't
Like
tell me
it's
that.
a lot easier to figure out there.
Yeah, see, you dropped 4 leagues. Look at you. I'm assuming the keeper is the one that we're in with Ben and them.
That's a lot of leagues, man. Like my anxiety barely lets me do 3.
Oh.
And this year I got them to do it to where all of them are on the same app, so I'm not stressing going, I gotta have this app and this app. Like I got all 3 of them, and I'm less stressed and I can take care of them. And I'm like, all right.
I just remembered I have to do another league this year. We're doing a family league, like with, because my wife enjoyed doing we did like a daily fantasy league for one thing,
Okay.
but that was like $25 buy or something like that. She liked that, but she liked doing the conventional draft and build a team lineup. And then my buddy Joe, his wife joked about doing it, and so now we're basically gonna do a family league and have let some of the kids build their own teams and all that, and we're gonna. There probably won't be a prize for first place, but there will be a punishment for being last. Like,
Yeah, like ours.
I mean, there needs to be because everyone in the league I'm building lives local, so like you can make the punishment like you have to clean all the toilets in the winner's house or something crazy like that, and it would
That's
be.
not crazy.
I mean, it's pretty gross. Some of them toilets are pretty nasty in the world. I mean, even if they're clean,
Okay,
it's
maybe
still a
it's-
toilet. People's butts sit on that.
I mean, I guess I'm just.
You're germaphobe, aren't you? Though. You're
No, I'm
probably-
not a germaphobe, but I keep my stuff clean.
I mean, I keep it clean too. If you need 2 extra, I'm sure. Oh, Preston, you and JC are on the short list. Don't worry. No, we're getting it. It's pretty much family softball. That's kind of what we do it with it. So that one will be a free league, though. I won't have to stress that one. I just can't get last place, which I won't. That's not a problem. I don't know that I've ever. Knock on wood here. I'm gonna jinx myself right now. I don't think I've ever gotten last place in a fantasy league. In all the leagues that I do, and you know how many I'm in, I don't think I've ever gotten last place.
I think the worst I've done is 8th.
Yeah.
I've never gotten last.
I think the first time I've ever missed the playoffs twice is this year in the OTSS league, in which both times I was like the first guy out, and I looked at my roster and thought I could have won. Like if I just got in, I'd have won.
And I'm sitting here looking at mine going, I got in the championship in 2 leagues. In the one league that I really wanted to get in, where I was back-to-back champion, I didn't even get into the playoffs. So I was like, all right, well, I'm in 2 leagues. I can at least win 1 championship. No, I lost both of them.
Goodness.
So I was like, oh, no, this is just that kind of year.
All right. Well, then I guess I'll say that I think that about wraps it up. I don't want to fill up too much boring time there. So we'll call it a wrap. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Like I said, we'll build on it more in the future, and that's going to be it.
Yeah.
Can you
Oh,
close
and by
that
the
from
way,
here?
we won't be filming next week because he'll
Correct.
be on vacation.
I'll be drinking on a beach.
So that will be that. And we will be back in the following week.